Welcome to Leading the Follower with your host, Rebecca Benston. Good morning and welcome to Leading the Follower. It's me, Rebecca Benston. I am back. I was supposed to be here yesterday, but had a rough weekend with a tooth that had broken and was causing me a lot of pain, so I wasn't able to put together my Monday podcast the way that I normally do. And really not quite at 100% yet, but I am feeling much better than I was over the weekend. So um, I will do my best to try and talk to you about whatever topic is on deck for today. Before I do, though, I want to remind you to stop by the Higher Ground Books and Media shop and take a look at what we've got. This week, we will have a brand new title out by Ron Isaacs called I Am Purim, about the celebration of Purim that is reviewed in the book of Esther. And it's a cute story, very nicely written, talks about all the different parts of that story, and I think you'll get a lot out of that. So you'll be able to pre-order that sometime this week, and hopefully be able to order copies sometime early next week. So keep that in mind. Keep that on your radar if you're interested in getting something like that to talk about with like your Bible studies or small groups. It is a children's book, but it is written in such a way that anybody could read it and share it and enjoy it. So keep that in mind. What else? What else? What else? Also, let's see. I did talk a little bit about this on our blog the other day. We have been experimenting with some AI tools that have recently become available. And as much as I hate to use AI for anything, the opportunity came up for us to use it for narration for some of our books. And because we have some books that are very short and really wouldn't pay off for a narrator to spend the time doing the recording, I decided to try some of those titles, some of the shorter titles, with the AI narration to see if we could make it available as an audiobook for people who would enjoy having a story read to them rather than having to read it. Children could benefit from this. Like, we have children's books that are shorter, that if the parent or sibling or whoever reads stories to the child doesn't have time to do it, you can just put this on, and you can buy the ebook to go with it or the paperback and follow along and then have it read to you. And it's a really neat way to do that. So um, I'm a big fan of audiobooks, and I'm always looking for ways to present the books that we have to you in a format that will work for you, because I know that I don't always have time to sit down and actually physically read a book, but I can always listen. So so we've been working with that a little bit. So check out the titles that we have. It says in their Amazon listing whether or not it was an AI generated narration. We only have a few of those right now. I think maybe 3 or 4 titles that I've put out that way. So if you get a chance, check those out, and you know, drop us an email at highergroundbooksandmedia@gmail.com to let me know what you think of it. If it is something that works, if you think it sounds good, if the quality is good, and if you like having that available, I would really like to know. I'd like to get some feedback on it. Um, and if people don't like it, it doesn't necessarily mean we'll stop doing it. But I would like to know people's thoughts one way or the other on it. So there's that. And now I guess I can get into talking about the topic of the day. And I was going to talk about. how our relationships kind of change over time, um, depending on where we're at and what we're doing and the changes we go through, and how we can know people for a period of time and then kind of drop out of their lives and then meet up with them later on, and we're all different, and and how do we deal with that? How do we deal with understanding how someone else has changed and having them understand how we've changed after some time has passed? Because for people who knew me in high school, I am a very different person than I was back then. I am a very different type of person. I was extremely shy, didn't talk a lot, didn't really interact much, but I had a lot going on at home that really prevented me from being very sociable at that time of my life. It wasn't until much, much later that I started to kind of come out of my shell and talk to people and be someone who knew a lot of people and liked to have conversations with people. And, I figure I know a lot of people. I don't have a lot of close friendships, but I have a lot of people that I care a lot about, whether they know it or not. Um, and each and every person that has been in my life for a time, they're important to me. I mean, unless they've done something extremely terrible to me and I've banished them to the far reaches of the world or whatever. Um, the time that I spend with people is very important and meaningful to me, because I am not someone who shares my time very easily. So if I have spent time with you, just please know that you are very important to me. And although I may not show it a lot of the time, and I may fall out of contact with you, it doesn't mean that you're not important. It just means that I have some things going on that maybe I don't have the time or resources to deal with anything but myself at that point. And, I was thinking a lot about how that looks to people and how unforgiving we can be when, the reality is sometimes we just need to drop off and take care of ourselves so that we can be okay to be with other people. And I've had to do that several times in my life. I've had to just drop out of the crowd that I was running with or whatever, and fix some things to get myself back on track. Um, but I think a lot about people that have been important to me, and how maybe they don't know that they're important to me, or maybe they didn't know, and it's too late for them to know now. And it really makes me sad, because my first thought is always, I don't ever want to make someone feel bad. I don't want to hurt feelings. I don't want people to think badly of me. However, if I have something that I need to confront you about, I'm likely to do that. So you may have bad feelings toward me, but um, I wouldn't waste my time telling you how I feel about something if you weren't important to me. So I hope that that is clear in every communication that I have with somebody. Um, but I think it's very important that we have genuine conversations with each other, and that we truly, um, look at each other honestly, and that we're not afraid to confront the things about each other that are upsetting, and to call those things out. Like, if we're not treating each other well, where is that coming from? you know Everybody gets in little arguments with their siblings, or even their parents, or others that they care about from time to time. But I mean, what's really at the heart of that? Is it a fundamental problem with that other person, or is it just that you're at a bad place in your life and you need to sort through some things, but you haven't taken the time to do that, and you're afraid that if you detach, that you won't be able to get that connection back? I mean, it could be that. So um, we just really have to give each other grace in all of those situations and understand that if we can have bad days, then hey, guess what? Everybody else can have bad days. And, maybe our conversations won't go the way that we want them to all the time. And we have to understand that's not the end of the world. It doesn't even have to be the end of our contact with that person, but maybe it needs to be a time where we step back, take a break, and look at what's causing our reaction to the conversations and interactions we're having with other people. So, I mean, that's a lot of heavy reflection, but I've really been thinking about that a lot because there are lots of people in my life that I was very close to at one time that I, for whatever reason, had to drop back and not engage with those people. It wasn't really their fault. It wasn't anything that they'd done. But I've gone through a lot of things that have required me to just be by myself for a bit and, be in the corner kind of healing and, trying to figure stuff out. So, and lots of people may not have understood that, and they may have thought that I kind of backed off because I didn't care about them, but that's not the case at all. In most cases, if you're someone I was close to and you haven't heard from me, it's probably because I'm hurting or I'm dealing with something that I can't share with you at that moment. And when I'm ready and when I'm able to do that, I will try to find you. Or if it feels like you're available and you're not in the same situation, I will seek you out and try to talk to you and see, what's going on. But generally, I take a lot of time to regenerate, and that isolates me to some extent. And it's something that I'm working on a lot of the time because I don't want to just isolate myself from everybody all the time. I want to have relationships with people, but it's not always possible. Um, so I just wonder what what types of things do you see yourself doing in your relationships with others? Are you scapegoating? Are you staying in contact with them to put your stress on them? Some people do that. Are you staying in contact with them out of the fear that they will just disappear if you step back to take care of yourself? Um, some cases they need to disappear, but in some cases, the reality is that they'll still be there when you get done taking care of you. Um, or, what other types of things are you running into in your relationships that causes you to not want to take the time to take care of you? I'm very curious about this because I see a lot of people that I care about who just refuse to step back and do what they need to do to fix the problems that they have. Um, and I hate to see that because it's painful to watch someone who needs to heal but refuses to. But we all have people like that in our lives, and we have watched it, I'm sure. So I'm probably going to put a question in the comments, uh, or whatever the show notes or whatever it is after this, about what kinds of things have you noticed about your interactions with others and how those are impacted um, by your need to take care of you. And in the meantime, I encourage you to go over to the Higher Ground Books and Media site and check out our blog posts. Sign up for our newsletter so that you can get regular posts. Um, our focus this week, I believe, is on using your gifts and knowing, how important it is that we do the things that God has made us to do. And also focusing on, if you have a story to tell, the importance of telling that story when you're ready. And, we encourage writing. So there's going to be social media posts about that you'll see throughout the week. So hopefully this podcast finds you well. I'm going to shorten it today because I am still recovering from dealing with the pain of this tooth, and I've got a lot of work to do that is backed up, and I want to make sure that I get to that today. But I'm kind of taking it easy, and hopefully by Friday I will be in good shape and I can come back and do a longer episode. But for now, I'll leave you with that. Hope you have a great rest of your week and that you don't forget to step back and take care of you when you need to, and be sure that you are using the gifts that God gave you. All right. Have a great week and God bless you. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to check out our website and blog. The blog is at www.leading-the-follower.com. Thanks and God bless.